So hi, I'm Pierre Tarnaud and I'm creative director on Absolver.
So for those who don't know, what is Absolver?
Absolver is an online melee action game with a very deep but accessible combat gameplay based on martial arts, in which players can really fully customize their player's combat style with what we call the combat deck, which is an interface in which you can mix and match many different attacks that you learn throughout the games to really create your own unique play style. But it's not just all about fighting, and in the game you're also exploring a sort of small open world in which you're seamlessly matchmaked all the time with other players. And so as you meet other players, you're going to build relationships with them, find some mentors to teach you their attacks, do some friendly sparring, do some co-op PvE, or maybe just fights in the world. And so every time you meet somebody in the world, it's sort of a new story that writes itself.
So would you classify the game as a fighting game?
No, I wouldn't, because it's more than that. But for those who are really interested in the fighting part of it, you can access special PvP game modes. So at launch we'll have the 1 versus 1 duel, traditional best out of 5. And when you're in a game mode, then it's really a fighting game, because that's what it's all about fighting. But when you look at the general experience, it's more than just that.
So there's over 180 different moves you can customize your fighter, and 3 different fighting styles. Talk a little about that.
Well, the idea is you're really creating your own unique moveset. So we have a stances system, and so stances is like orientation relatively to your enemy. You have 4 stances, and in each stance you can place different attacks. And every attack in the game starts in one stance and finishes in one stance. So they always chain together fluidly. It's a bit hard to explain in detail without having a pad or an interface on screen, but once you get the system, it's actually very easy to manipulate and to really create your tactics the way you want your playstyle to be.
Talk about this world that you'll be exploring. What's this story in the world all about?
Well, it's the story itself is very simple. It's not a narrative game, basically, because what we really invested in was more like the backstory and the fantasy and why are you here and what happened here before you were. So you're going to be exploring the ruins of an imperial city that was destroyed a few centuries ago. And since the empire fell, a new order took power and created the Absolvers. And your objective is to become an Absolver, basically.
So talk about the mask in this game. They serve a huge purpose.
Well, in the fantasy, the mask is basically where a very powerful magic type which allows you to resuscitate upon death and to what we call to fold and then unfold. And so this is, the first thing that happens in the game you're going to see is you bring your mask, and your mask is enchanted and it's placed on your face and you can never take it off anymore. But it also serves another purpose, more from a relationship standpoint, which is it's the first thing you see when you meet somebody else. And so depending on the mask you choose, you're going to reflect something different to the persons you meet in the game.
So what does this game open up for people who are fans of fighters like Tekken or Street Fighter?
Well, it's a 3D fighting game, so it's I guess it's probably more similar to Tekken than to Street Fighter. What we wanted to do is something that was more accessible than these games, so it's easier to pick up and play. You don't have hundreds of combos to learn and matchups, etc., because you're really building your own combos. So you're building your own character, and so you know what your combos and your strengths are. And then it's not so much about knowing your matchup against a specific character. It's more about adapting yourself all the time to the other and to the unique combat deck of the opponent you're currently facing.
So when does the game come out, and what platforms will it be on?
It's out in a week, so August 29th on PC and PS4.